Βρισκόμαστε ήδη στο κατόφλι της τέταρτης βιομηχανικής.
We are at the threshold of the fourth industrial revolution. Artificial intelligence, interconnectivity, Internet of Things, the Internet of interconnections of system is a reality. In my presentation, we shall see some practical examples of the implementation of these technologies and some bioethical dilemmas. So we are called upon today in this conference to examine the issues of the transhuman. Transhuman who is there to correct the, according to metanthropist, issues of time and space. It's been an attempt to try to create a hybrid invention with biological substance, but also with technology in it. So the Homo technicus, a technological augmented man, and in the end, this wishes to create the so-called Homo Deus, in other words, the man-God. Now, we do know the human being with human semblance, with abilities, biological skills, senses, but these are seen as being old. And this has to do with the intelligence that we all know today. Now, Homo technicus and Homo Deus will have some technical changes. We'll have some nanoid neural interconnections. They will be automated, incorrect, and superintelligent machines of interconnection. They'll have techno-knowledge against what people have today, the so-called biological people, and also some technical skills and capacities. And of course, all this seems via a set of algorithms that people have created up to now. Now, practical examples of artificial intelligence that already exist: ASCO, robotics surgery from remotely. We talk about thermal view. We talk about intelligent drugs or smart drugs. We talk about the enhancement of capacities of people, genetics in vivo, via licenses through the molecular CRISPR scissors, in order to be able to change some gene mistakes and errors. Now, we already talk about replacement of human parts with bionic hands, bionic ears, bionic eyes, even bionic teeth. And of course, there are many already great applications of these things in people who have managed to stand for the first time in their life, who managed to hear, to listen, to walk for the first time. In this video, you can actually see how a new DNA is being created through the help and assistance of CRISPR. In other words, the molecular genetic scissors, where there are new interconnections on the DNA. We cut the DNA, as you can actually see it on the screen. Whenever humans believe that there is an error, they do change the genetic information from that particular part. And then man have the capacity in this particular part to add, to reconnect a new part of genetic information, which will further be connected on our own DNA, the human DNA that we do want. You can see the part of DNA that is cut and it's been interconnected on the existing DNA via the new genetic information that we as humans, we wish to introduce to humans. We already talk about the genetic modification by CRISPR in order to eradicate certain diseases, the forms of diseases. In the paper you can see of December 2023, under title First CRISPR Therapy Approved for Sickle Cell. We have the first FDA approval actually for this particular therapy. So already we can see that there are for other diseases, hematological diseases. Now some general examples of genetical upgrade also is the genetical modification of embryo. Already since 2016, we can see that the British authority has delivered the license to be able to implement the CRISPR technology in embryo, as I mentioned earlier, since 2016. So we talk about artificial synthetic chromosome, we talk about intervention in the genetic material of humans. Already, we have children who have born under CRISPR. In other words, children who are 5 years old right now in Japan, Luna and Nana, and whoever wishes to, you can contact these children to see how the health of these children evolve. So we understand that we talk about a technology, about an improvement, an effort to improve, which is under development evolution for quite some years. So we talk about the future genetic doping, we talk about the cognitive enhancement, and we are just before a new civilization of genetics. In other words, genes that man will actually choose to introduce in its own genome will actually create the future of tomorrow. So we're actually already talking about neural connections. You can actually see some images taken a few days ago from the webpage of Neuralink, the US company by the new Minister of the Trump administration, Elon Musk. Actually, he invites volunteers to introduce microchips in the head. Of course, it was done. It was a paid effort. So there are people who have already some transplants on their brain. So via these technologies, it is believed that diseases will be eradicated, like epilepsy, Parkinson's disease, obesity, autism, and other diseases. Already see themselves as cyborgs. And let us see two characteristic examples by the names. The first one is a Greek Cypriot, actually, from Australia, who has transformed his body into a canvas of improvement. In his hand, you can see there is an ear where he wishes to incorporate some sensors, so in order to be able to use it and receive information from these artificial hands. On the lower part of the screen and the images, you can actually see a reference from the cyborg movement. These people have incorporated such microchips in the human body, have created a so-called movement. And so we are the first generation able to decide what organs and senses we want to have. So they want their own rights, which need to be respected by the others because it's their body, it's their choice. And also, furthermore, we talk about the new ways to improve the human body via the nanotechnology. We talk use of anthrobots in order to be able to treat diseases. And moreover, in the so-called pseudoscience, we also talk about cryogenetics, where they preserve humans in 0.196 degrees Celsius in order to be, let's say, recovered, resurrected, when the science will be able to do that and resolve all these so-called bioethical issues. So we talk about an improvement as far as the conscience of people is concerned, people who actually see digital immortality, technical immortality, via the transfer of human conscience into electronic computers and data. But let's now see some bioethic dilemma via such a transformation of humans. Human is a biological a psychosomatic body created according to God, and it tends to be replaced by the so-called transhuman. In other words, the own existence of God as a creator is being lost, and in the place we see the humans who actually want to understand and see themselves as Homo Deus. So we should expect the transfer of the cognitive capacities and skills to electronic computers, to cloud, to supercomputers, by the creation of a new cognitive sphere where people could actually live the so-called techno-existence. In other words, humans will still exist, the cognition will still exist of these people after their death. This is actually the vision. But also, we need to refer to the psychological existence of people, and nobody talks about the eschatological aspect of humans. So we talk about biotechnological ecosystem, where people will not anymore live in a natural ecosystem, in the natural environment, where he needs to antagonize with other species with other factors and characteristics. So we talk about a metaverse. A metaverse where people will have to antagonize and compete with algorithms that he has created himself. People talk about the liquid nature of its identity. In other words, it tends to lose its liquid identity, its stable identity, because as people, and if people are going to receive all these improvements via new technologies, via new software, etc., it is as if that person has no limits. In other words, limits are lost because you have the new upgrades that will come in a few moments. So from a body, it actually turns into a liquid body, as many philosophers of our years tend to say. We also cannot anymore talk about the integrity of species. We talk about the rights of parents, rights of children, right of offspring. Do parents have the right to decide upon the genes that they want the children to have? Has a child the right to choose its own genetics? So where starts and where ends people's liberty? How the people's liberty is influenced by the challenges of transhumanism? How the so-called old people, the so-called Homo sapiens, will be able to compete with Homo Deus? So probably the non-improved people will be considered as being marginalized. Probably is it a case where the people who have the appropriate money to be able to dominate over the so-called Homo sapiens, the old so-called people? Are we talking about transhumans who's going to be a high elite of the people who have the financial skills and capacity to be able to have this technological improvement and a continuous technological upgrade and update? So will transhumans have the same rights as the so-called first people, the so-called Homo sapiens? Where do rights of people start, and where are the rights of technology and machines? Who will actually talk about the new values of such a society? Should we be altogether against such technologies or such efforts? Many people tend to say no, if especially we're talking about technology used for therapeutic reasons. But of course, once again, these can be challenged. What is therapy? What is treatment? What is improvement? So transhumans do not believe that the term treatment or therapy exists. Everything is improvement as far as they're concerned. So in other words, also a philosophical question over there. So how can we as church face this movement? So via different regulatory authorities and regulatory laws, via the observatories of the church about transhumanism, via codes of ethics and working groups. And of course, it is truly useful that this particular conference has made a first start. So will transhumans be able to pray, to have some challenge about his future. Could he be able to work according to Christ? Can he believe in Jesus Christ that he actually healed? So will transhumans will be able to understand the issue of repentance and see passions, needs, and its internal perspective? Thank you very much.